The Western Visayas Police is now on full alert following the bloody encounter in Antique that killed 7 alleged NPA rebels. Vincent Arboleda tells us why.
7 suspected members of the New People's Army were killed after engaging police and the military in an armed encounter. According to PRO6 Director Chief Superintendent John Bulalakaw, authorities were about to serve a warrant of arrest to frustrated murder suspects Jason Talibo and Joven Seralvo at Barangay Atabay, San Jose Antique on Wednesday at dawn when the group fired shots and threw a grenade at them, promptly igniting a deadly confrontation. Exchange of gunfire lasted 33 minutes before 7 members of the group were eventually killed while 1 was able to escape. There were no reports of casualties from the government forces. The 7 fatalities were identified as Jason Talibo alias Bebe, Karen Seralvo, Felix Salditos, Jason Sanchez, Rene Yap, Lizelle Bandiola alias Mayang, and 1 unidentified male. The other subject of the warrant, Joven Seralvo alias Ka-Lex, is at large. They are believed to be part of the southern front of the Comiteng Rehiyong Panay and NPA's Regional Taxation Implementing Group based on items that authorities recovered from the suspects, which include different types of firearms, ammunition, laptops, mobile phones, subversive documents, and cash collected through extortion.
Yes, region-wide. Yes, they are the ones involved in the giving of support to all their operating units. And sa kanilang pagka-neutralize this morning, malaking bagay ito sa party dito sa ating region.
The entire Western Visayas Police is now on full alert for possible retaliatory attacks following the bloody encounter.
Definitely, we are expecting that they will be launching attacks, especially against those vulnerable police stations and military establishments, and those especially in the far-flung areas.
Vincent Arboleda, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
The House of Representatives will resume its deliberations on the proposed 2019 national budget, several days of suspension. House Majority Leader Rolando Andaya says the resumption comes after their meeting with President Rodrigo Duterte to express their sentiments on the proposed 2019 cash-based budget. Andaya says the palace agreed to have a compromise budget by realigning the proposal to restore the slashed funds.
We have initial communication from DBM on where we can source some of these much-needed projects, lalong-lalo na sa health sector and sa educational sector. Meron ng initial na amount na binigay.
The Majority Floor Leader adds it is possible that Congress will allow a supplemental budget to fund the enactment of the Bangsamoro Organic Law and the Supreme Court's decision on the deficiency in the Internal Revenue Allotment. They will also propose a hybrid cash-based budgeting system instead, where the budget can be used up to 1.5 years in hopes of ending rumors on a reenacted budget.
Kung ano yung demand, yun ang bigay natin. Yun naman ang promesa natin sa Train 2. So from that agreement, I think we can move forward.
Consumers will now have access to lower or considerably priced basic necessities and prime commodities through the Suking Tindahan program of the Department of Trade and Industry, or DTI. The said program is open to major sari-sari stores, wholesalers, and cooperatives that are willing to sell basic and prime goods within or lower than the suggested retail price. The key element of the program is DTI's role of linking the recognized Suking Tindahan with the manufacturers or their authorized distributors that can give the basic and prime goods at discounted rates. This will allow the sari-sari stores to sell these goods within or below the SRP, thereby ensuring the sustainability of the Suking Tindahan program. To qualify, the store or cooperatives must be fully registered business that is in existence for at least 1 year and a minimum financial capitalization of 100,000 pesos.
Gusto natin mas maraming magbenta ng SRP price. Kaya nagbukas tayo ng mga suking tindahan.
And in other news, almost 3,000 motorists were monitored to have violated the high occupancy vehicle policy during the first day of its week-long dry run. The Metro Manila Development Authority, or MMDA, says the violations were reported only from 7 to 9 in the morning. The policy is effective along EDSA during rush hours, including 6 to 9 p.m. The MMDA targets to fully apply the driver-only ban and its penalties beginning August 23, pending the week-long dry run assessment. The agency also appeals to the public to cooperate with the traffic scheme, which aims to decongest EDSA.
Hindi po buong Metro Manila. Isang kalsada lang po out of those thousands of streets in Metro Manila, EDSA lang ang hiningi namin. Hindi rin namin sinabing 24 hours. Humingi lang kami ng 3 hours in the morning, 3 hours in the afternoon. So talaga kailangan natin i-schedule and bigyan natin ng priority yung mas nakakarami.
The Bureau of Customs is set to turn over to the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency the 37 million pesos worth of shabu and ecstasy it intercepted at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport in the last 3 months. Customs Commissioner Isidro La Peña says the parcels of illegal drugs arrived in separate flights from May to July and are hidden inside various products like cameras, baby carrier, and furnitures, among others. The Bureau also says they have intensified methods in intercepting illegal drugs in ports by studying behavior and body language.
What we are seeing now is the result of a continuing intensified campaign against illegal drugs, and that is a joint undertaking with the PDEA.
Customs Chief La Peña also assures his agency will continue to work with PDEA to curb drug smuggling despite a so-called miscommunication on recent discovery of illegal drugs that were concealed in magnetic lifters.
We are okay. You know, I cannot just dissociate myself from PDEA because I came from PDEA. I love PDEA.
The Commission on Elections is seeking to implement security measures that will further protect the automation system of the 2019 midterm elections. This is to remove doubts on poll automation process cast by recent allegations of irregularities in the 2016 elections. These measures include the use of the Board of Election Inspectors' digital signature to limit the number of persons transmitting the votes. The Commission also plans to require more details from voters and to use QR codes in each official ballot to immediately identify its origin. A public viewing of the source code review is also being considered to identify any machine defects and functionality problems.
That is to make sure that the one transmitting from the precinct level going to the canvassing level will be the BEI itself, the Board of Election itself, who transmit the result because of the presence of the digital signatures.
Nag-i-improve din yung teknolohiya, no? So, every election yan, independently of the allegations of Mr. Chong.
Meanwhile, the Western Visayas Police Office is now on full alert following the encounter in Antique that killed 7 alleged members of the New People's Army. Police Regional Office 6 Director Chief Superintendent John Bulalakaw says they are expecting retaliatory attacks from the NPA after several of its Southern Front members were killed in an encounter with the police and the military early Wednesday. The exchange of gunfire occurred when the alleged group of rebels fired shots at the police who were about to serve a warrant of arrest for frustrated murder charges. Authorities believe these suspects are communist rebels based on the items they recovered, including firearms, ammunitions, laptop, mobile phones, subversive documents, and cash collected through extortion.
Yes, region-wide. Yes, they are the ones involved in the giving of support to all their operating units. And sa kanilang pagka-neutralize this morning, malaking bagay ito sa party dito sa ating region.
The southwest monsoon will continue to affect parts of Luzon according to Pag-asa. Monsoon rains will still be experienced over Batanes and Babuyan group of islands, while the Ilocos region, Cordillera, Bataan, and Zambales will have scattered rain showers and thunderstorms. Metro Manila and the rest of the country will experience isolated rain showers. The State Weather Bureau also warns sea crafts and small fishing vessels against venturing over the western seaboards of northern and central Luzon and the northern seaboard of northern Luzon due to high waves. And for the news abroad, here is Stephanie C. live from Hong Kong. Stephanie, good evening.
Good evening, William. Italian Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte expects increase in the number of fatalities after a bridge collapse in Genoa City. He also says the hypothesis for the collapse was a structural failure. Jovic Burmas tells us why.
The search for survivors of a bridge collapse continued into the night in the northwestern Italian city of Genoa, as citizens began to mourn the victims and calls for an investigation grew louder. Local media reports say a 200-meter section of the Morandi Bridge, part of a toll highway that was one of the main arteries into the port city, collapsed at about 12 p.m. local time on Tuesday, taking down with it at least 30 to 35 cars and 3 lorries that had been crossing the bridge at the time. At least 35 people had been reported dead, including a 10-year-old. 5 of the injured were in serious condition. The death toll is expected to rise as rescuers are still searching for bodies and survivors under rubble.
From what I have personally ascertained so far, the number will increase. At this moment, it is an incredible tragedy, above all, because there has not been an explosion or an accident.
According to Italy's Civil Protection Department, around 1,000 police, firefighters, and volunteers were deployed to the scene. The 1,182-meter structure was inaugurated in 1967 and went through major reinforcement work in the 1990s. Italian Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte says the hypothesis for the collapse was a structural failure.
This bridge was subject to maintenance, but we will have to make all the necessary surveys together with the judiciary to ascertain what caused the collapse and to prevent such tragedies from being repeated.
Houses in the immediate vicinity have been evacuated out of fear that the 2 remaining sections of the bridge would also give way. Jovic Burmas, UNTV News and Rescue, Europe.
A report detailing sex abuse in children involving Catholic priests in Pennsylvania has been made public. According to the country's Attorney General, it was the most comprehensive report on Catholic clergy sex abuse in American history. Here's why from Beverly Saison.
The Pennsylvania Supreme Court has released a grand jury report detailing sex abuse in the Catholic Church, naming over 300 accused clergymen. The landmark grand jury investigation found more than 1,000 children had been abused by members of 6 dioceses in the state for the last 70 years. Pennsylvania Attorney General Josh Shapiro said the probe found systematic cover-ups by the church.
The term secret archives is not my term. It is how the church officials themselves referred to the troves of documents sitting in filing cabinets just feet from the bishops' desks. In each diocese, the bishops had the key to the secret archives, which contained both allegations and admissions of the abuse and the cover-up.
The Attorney General said it was the most comprehensive report on Catholic clergy sex abuse in American history, nearly 2 decades after an expose of widespread abuse and cover-up in Boston that rocked the Roman Catholic Church. Several of the dioceses issued statements apologizing to victims and saying they were taking steps to ensure any criminal behavior was stopped. As accusers swept behind him, Shapiro described alleged abuse by priests in 6 of the state's 8 dioceses, including a group of Pittsburgh clergymen accused of ordering an altar boy to strip naked and pose as Christ on the cross while they photographed him.
Financial punishment is the only way the church knows. Finances, they don't care about children, they care about money. When they catch a priest embezzling from their diocese, they call you guys. Go down to the courthouse. We just arrested Father so-and-so. He stole $300,000. We're prosecuting him to the full extent of the law. If you steal from the church, they'll prosecute you. If you rape for the church, they'll transfer you to a whole new flock of people to do it to again. So there has to be a financial price for this.
While the report names hundreds of priests, some names remained redacted due to claims that naming them violates their constitutional rights. State Attorney General Josh Shapiro said at a news conference on Tuesday that his office is working to remove those redactions. Beverly Saison, UNTV News and Rescue, USA.
Nebraska carried out its first execution in 21 years on Tuesday by administering a lethal injection to its longest-serving death row inmate, a man who was convicted of killing 2 taxi drivers in 1979. 60-year-old Carrie Moore was put to death at the Nebraska State Penitentiary in Lincoln, according to a state official. His execution marked the first time any state has used fentanyl in a lethal injection. The drug, which is 100 times stronger than morphine, has helped fuel the recent national opioid crisis that has brought a surge in overdose deaths. Google records users' locations even when they have asked it not to, a report from the Associated Press has suggested. The issue could affect up to 2 billion Android and Apple devices which use Google for maps or search. The study, verified by researchers at Princeton University, has angered U.S. lawmakers. Google said in response that it provides clear descriptions of its tools and how to turn them off. But the study found that users' whereabouts are recorded even when the location history has been disabled. And those are the news from the other parts of the globe. Back to you, William.
Thank you very much, Stephanie C. from Gangnam, Hong Kong Live. A German company introduces a solar integrated electric vehicle that charges as you drive. Leslie Longbowen tells us why.
A German startup has taken advantage of the strong Bavarian sun this summer to test the final development of the charging system of its Sean car, an all-electric vehicle with solar panels to top up the battery as you drive. Sono Motors says the Sean can be charged from conventional power outlets, solar power, or other Seans. 330 solar cells integrated into the bodywork add an extra 30 kilometers to the car's normal range of around 250 kilometers.
Die Solarintegration bezieht sich bei uns auf das ganze Extra, das heißt, wir haben
The solar integration refers to the entire exterior. We have clad the entire shell with solar panels, meaning on an average sunny day in Munich, we can generate up to 30 additional kilometers of range, and that means for us and the community that we are able to significantly reduce the intervals when the car has to be charged.
Deutlich drastisch reduzieren können.
The car comes with seat heaters, air conditioning, a large infotainment system, and also features moss in the dashboard and center console, acting as an air filtration system that does not need watering.
Der Sion soll ein sehr
The Scion is supposed to be suitable for daily use. It has a large trunk space with 650 liters where everything fits into it, like my pram or my shopping. With a tow bar, it can also pull a trailer. Overall, I have a comprehensive car which is kept very simple without any frills.
The company says the car will be produced by a local manufacturer yet to be announced in Bavaria in the second half of 2019 and already has around 5,000 orders. It aims to start selling at 16,000 euros or $18,540 without the battery, which can be bought for an extra 4,000 euros or $4,635 or paid for on a monthly rate. Leslie Lomboan, UNTV News and Rescue.
A street sweeper in Ukraine receives an unusual honor and reward after years of cleaning the city of Lviv. Abby Valdez tells us why.
Street sweeper Miroslav Novostovsky wakes up at the crack of dawn in his 9th-floor residential building in the western Ukrainian city of Thio, hours before the rest of his neighbors, to start a new day of keeping his neighborhood clean and tidy. Novostovsky jokes that his neighbor, a taxi driver, always sees him working whether early in the morning or late at night.
I work until midnight, until 1 a.m. It depends.
After 4 years in the job, his efforts have been rewarded with an unusual nomination as Thio's Best Street Sweeper. In March 2018, Thio residents picked Novostovsky over more than 100 candidates as the best street sweeper in the city. Tidy porches and a garden with blossoming sunflowers are not the only evidence of his dedication. The people he lives near also admire his character.
He gets along with all people without any exception, even though different people with their own characters live here. I have never heard that anyone had any misunderstandings with him.
Besides being honored by the title of the city's best street sweeper, Novostovsky received another valuable prize. The 61-year-old, who has never traveled abroad and worked for 30 years as a mechanic at the Thio bus factory, went on a 3-day bus tour around Europe with all expenses fully covered by the Thio City Council. Accompanied by his wife Anna Loziak in the cities of Krakow, Prague, Budapest, and Vienna, Novostovsky celebrated his birthday while on the trip. Reflecting on the trip and the contest that led to it, Novostovsky says it was a great pleasure to realize people respect street sweepers even a little. Abby Valdez, UNTV News and Rescue.
And those are the reasons behind the news, August 15, 2018. On behalf of Rheena, Villamor-Camara, and Angelo Castro III, I am William Thio. Because we need to know, we will always ask why. Good evening.